Climate change. Over the last 10 years, sea levels have risen at an alarming rate.
They've issued a report saying if drastic action is not taken, climate change can reach crisis levels in a decade.
For failing to reduce carbon emissions, warning that the point of no return is fast approaching.
And land has a critical role to play in carbon dioxide removal.
How off track the world is in combating climate change.
Scientists say climate change is getting worse.
We're going to continue to witness deadly and catastrophic heat waves, storms, and pollution.
The Amazon, it's being slashed and burned very quickly.
And there could be serious consequences for our planet in the next 20 years.
No challenge poses a greater threat to future generations than climate change.
Business as usual has got to change. Politics as usual has got to change. In order to combat that, we have to change the system that has allowed it to happen.
This is no longer a wake-up call.
So this kind of spirals out of control if we don't rein in our carbon dioxide emissions.
Now to a dire warning about climate change.
Climate change. We've all heard of it. It is something we have caused. The human race did this. But what exactly did we do? What is climate change?
Global warming is the average temperature of the Earth that's been heating up over the past few years and the next few years.
I don't know what global warming is.
Global warming is the Earth heating up and a lot of ice melting.
Atmospheric carbon dioxide concentrations are higher today than at any time in at least the past 650,000 years. They are about 35% higher than before the Industrial Revolution, and this increase is caused by human activities, primarily the burning of fossil fuels. Carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas, as are methane, nitrous oxide, water vapour, and a host of other trace gases. These gases cause our ozone layer to thicken, causing the natural temperature of the Earth to be thrown off. The sun's beams come down to Earth and half are absorbed into the Earth's crust. However, greenhouse gases act like a blanket for infrared radiation, retaining radiative energy near the surface that would otherwise escape directly to space. This process causes more to be absorbed by the Earth, raising its temperature.
Only having 11 years left to change what we do about global warming it's hard to hear it because it almost doesn't seem real.
I feel like at this point in time we are in a crisis, and the fact that the government and every government tends to focus on their political matters rather than the environmental issues is the big thing, and it should be at the forefront of every single conversation that they have in Parliament. And they just would rather talk about Brexit, different other things and that, but it's just the environmental issue tends to get pushed back. But it just shows since Greta came out and spoke in front of the UN, it's just proved that we need to act and we need to do something.
As a society, we've become so advanced to the point that the consequences are there. With everything that we do, everything has consequences. This was always going to happen, and it's inevitable.
On New Year's Day, 1 decade ago in 2010, Britain was enduring its most widespread and prolonged period of sub-zero temperatures and significant snowfall in 28 years. On New Year's Day, 1 decade earlier in 2020, Britain was spending New Year's at the beach in their bikinis at 12 degrees Celsius.
I feel that having shorter winters and longer summers is a bad thing.
I'm a bit indifferent to it. Like, I like winter, I like summer. Like, I'm not bothered about having longer summers at all.
Good. I don't like winter. So that's a positive.
Even though with summer it's great and it's like hot weather and that, if it's nice, it's lovely and that, and everybody's all happy, but you tend to forget what that we are actually damaging our environment, we're damaging our society, our home. People would rather like be happy, like get drunk or like throw house parties and barbecues and whatnot than sort out the environment.
Before 2000s, Greenland was a land that was cold and covered in ice. Global warming has made this country able to grow crops better and attract more tourists. At first, everyone was happy about this. The deciduous pine trees grow at extreme rates due to the hotter weather, having growth spurts each year, and the titanium that is hidden all in Greenland's dirt is now able to be mined. The people of Greenland are experiencing global warming greatly, with their country becoming better off for it.
Going to be one of the greatest countries on the planet with this global warming.
But what else does the heat increase cause? Now glaciers are retreating at shocking rates, one retreating 50 kilometres a year. Glaciers are melting everywhere, not only in Greenland, but Iceland as well. These enormous mountains of ice are shrinking, and the water is adding to the rising sea level, which has been rising at an average of over 8 inches, about 23 centimetres, since 1880, with about 3 of those inches gained in the last 25 years. Every year, the sea rises another 0.13 inches. This is causing uncontrollable floods all over the globe and even causing islands to disappear.
This makes me feel sad for these people that have like had lives on these islands and they're now being, because of us, because of humans, that place where they live is being swallowed up by just the ocean. It's slowly going to rise and just take more and more and more of what they've made, and it's quite sad actually.
It makes me feel sad, to be honest. I mean, no country or island needs or deserves that.
That makes me feel like really upset, because whilst I don't think about it, it's still really sad to hear about islands literally being covered in water and people's like lives being genuinely destroyed. So it's still upsetting.
Tuvalu is a Polynesian country situated in Oceania and is no more than a speck in the Pacific Ocean, midway between Hawaii and Australia and its 8 other sister islands. 11,000 people live across the 9 islands altogether, with a total of 26 square kilometres. The land has been disappearing into the ocean for the past 2 decades, and scientists predict Tuvalu will become uninhabitable in the next 50 years. Locals say sooner. The sea is eating all the sand. Before, the sand used to stretch out far, and when we swam, we could see the sea floor and the coral. Now, it is cloudy all the time, and the coral is dead. Tuvalu is sinking. Setani, 54, stated, "I have been learning the things that are happening are the results of man, especially from other countries. It makes me sad. I am from a small country. All I want is for bigger countries to respect us and think of our lives." In September 2019, Australia experienced one of its biggest wildfires yet. Australia's deadly fires have been fueled by a combination of extreme heat, prolonged drought, and strong winds. The country is still in the grip of a heatwave, with record-breaking temperatures over the last 3 months. In mid-December, the nation saw the hottest day in history. The average temperature was 41.9 degrees Celsius. Experts say that the changing climate is key to understanding the ferocity of this year's blazes. Hotter, drier conditions are making the country's fire season longer and much more dangerous. The fire ended in January 2020, lasting 4 months. During this time, at least 28 people died in blazes that have swept the country, and more than 3,000 homes have been destroyed. Roughly 7.3 million hectares of land have been burnt, and it is estimated 1 billion animals were killed in this fire.
Australian volunteers have struggled to save wild animals as bushfires rage in the country's southeast.
Wow, that fire is hot. I can't see anything. This is literally not real. This is not real.
Climate change is growing bigger every day. With the rising population, we need more food, which means more farming, which contributes greenhouse gases to the ozone layer. We need spaces for more houses, and we need materials, so forests are being cut down. We need to power these houses with electricity, which requires fossil fuels to be burnt. 4 out of 5 teenagers learn how to drive, and more petrol is being emitted into the atmosphere. These are things we can't control, but here are things we can. Ecosia is an online search engine just like Google, but for each 45th search, they plant a tree. Currently, they have planted 83 million trees since it first started in 2009. A lot of things nowadays can be recycled. It doesn't take a lot to read a packet and put it in a different bin. Try walking to your destination rather than driving. It will save you money, is healthier for you, and will help the planet. The problems climate change is causing are catastrophic, and if we don't act now, the effects will be fatal.